I was so shocked and surprised when I heard this important information that I just had to tell everyone. I decided to make a video and try to explain it the best way that I can, the way that I've found is easiest to understand through all the research I've done. What I had no idea is that sugar or carbs does not cause diabetes. In fact, because we're not getting to the root cause of it, it's impossible to reverse it. So, you know how your entire life you can eat some sugar, maybe a cookie, a piece of cake, a banana, anything like that. And what happens when the sugar goes into your body? It goes in your bloodstream and then it has to go into muscle or liver cells. So, what ends up happening is it needs a key to get in those cells. Let's take a look at the key and we'll call it insulin. Insulin is the key that lets that sugar get into the cell. So the entire time you're growing up and you eat some sugar, it travels into the bloodstream and then goes right into the cell like it's supposed to, no problem. When you become insulin resistant, what ends up happening is all of a sudden your sugar is traveling. It gets to the point where it's trying to get into the cell. The insulin comes up and tries to let it in, but something's blocking it. Those locks are blocked. The insulin can't get in the cell to let the sugar in. So the sugar says, whoops, I can't get in there. I'm just going to stay in the bloodstream. So after this happens over a period of time and your insulin can't let the sugar into the cell, your body starts to experience different side effects from this. Basically, that's when your doctor probably tests your sugar, or you go to an appointment and they say you're pre-diabetic or you have diabetes. And what this means is that your sugar can't get into the cells. What happens when it's blocked is it's blocked by tiny particles of fat. Now, where does the fat come from? Well, it comes from the typical standard American diet. If you're eating a high-fat diet, a typical meat and dairy-based diet, what happens is over time, these little tiny particles of fat get caught up in your muscle and liver cells where the sugar is supposed to go. So the insulin, which is made by your pancreas, starts to produce more. It's overworking your pancreas because it's thinking, why can't I get in? Why can't I let the sugar in like I'm supposed to? So this is what essentially is happening. So this buildup of excess sugar in your bloodstream is what they call type 2 diabetes. Your insulin can't let the sugar in, and so now you're insulin resistant. So your doctor will likely say, it sounds like you have sugar diabetes, but you didn't always have it because this is something that develops over time. If you think about it, it usually happens when we get a little bit older. We are a little bit overweight, so which means that we're typically eating a higher fat diet. So over time, eating a diet that's really high in animal fat, animal products like meat and dairy, it creates a lot of saturated fat that gets caught up in these muscle and liver cells. So that way the insulin is not able to unlock or let the sugar in. What happens now? So now the doctor says, okay, I'm going to give you some medication. Now, these medications often have side effects that cause other problems. So the medication is being put in your body. It's changing the dynamic of your system, trying to lower the blood sugar. It might even get to a point where, you need to have insulin produced because you've overworked your pancreas, let's just say. So the doctor gives you medication that often will have harmful side effects to lower your sugar. Or he'll tell you to stop eating carbs and stop eating sugar altogether. And this is what's going to help you manage it. And they make it seem, in most cases, like you have to live with this. No one is getting to the root cause. It would be like you having a drain in your sink that is clogged up. Something has gotten down there. Maybe you've poured some bacon grease, which is part of what the problem is. And the next thing you know, you start to dump, someone dumps a glass of tea in there. Oh, the tea is backing up in the sink. You don't just start dipping the tea out of the sink. You don't pour a glass of Kool-Aid in the sink and it's backing up. So you think, oh, let me get the Kool-Aid out of the sink. No, Think about it. If someone would say to you, okay, well, you can't pour tea down the drain, it's the tea that's causing this problem, we would know the issue is our drains are clogged. So this is why once we identify that the drain is clogged, we unclog the drain. That way we can pour what we need to into the sink. This is such an important analogy when it comes to how this works with our cells. We can look at our muscle and liver cells like the drain, and then we can look at the sugar as what we're pouring into the drain. Now, not that we should eat a ton of processed sugar like cookies. However, sugar, natural sugar, is a very important part of our diet. We should be able to eat healthy carbs and healthy fruits just like we could our entire life. All we need to do is unclog the drain. Now, by our drain, we're talking about the muscle and liver cells. We have to clear out those tiny particles of fat that are creating the insulin resistance. We need to open those up so that our key, or the insulin, can let the sugars in. The natural sugars need to be able to flow into those cells. So in other words, if those sugars are able to flow into the cells when you eat a banana, for example, then the sugar won't hit that barrier and say, whoops, I have to return to the bloodstream. This is going to eliminate the need for you to have to take medication to lower the blood sugar because it can go where it's supposed to go. Now, by eliminating the excess blood sugar and allowing sugars to flow naturally where they're supposed to go into your muscle and liver cells, will also slow the progression of those diabetes-related complications such as neuropathy. Other common diabetes health complications include heart disease, chronic kidney disease, nerve damage, and other problems with feet, oral health, vision, hearing, and mental health. Now, how do we do this? The great news is, since we know that the actual root cause of the insulin resistance, why our sugars are not able to get into our muscle and liver cells to get them out of the bloodstream, is caused by these tiny particles of fat. So the fat particles is what we need to eliminate. And how do we do this? The great news is we can do this with a whole food plant-based diet. This will then start to eliminate those fat particles. It will open up the cells and be able to allow the insulin to let the sugars in to flow naturally. This way, you have returned your body to how it was before you became insulin resistant. You have essentially unclogged the drains. Now, when you eat that potato or those healthy carbs like whole grain rice, or you eat fruit, you're able to now absorb the sugars into your muscle and liver cells where it's supposed to go. Finally, when I learned all this, it clicked and everything started to make sense. Why I've read so many testimonials of people who have reversed their type 2 diabetes with a whole food plant-based diet. Now you might say, JJ, why can't I do a low-carb keto diet? Well, the issue I see with the ketogenic type diet is that it requires that you add more fat into your diet and usually requires that you eat a increased amount of animal protein and you reduce the fruits and vegetables and sugars, which it might on the outset look like you're improving. It looks like you're losing weight. However, from my research, the fat is actually the problem, the root cause of what is creating that insulin resistance. So you're going to want to reduce the fat. It's really important. Please keep in mind, if you're on medications, you're going to want to let your doctor know. Because if you're taking medication to lower your blood sugar, let's just say, and you begin to naturally heal it, you don't want to have your sugar get too low. So it's important for them to monitor your medication. I've heard people in as little as 2 weeks are able to either lower their doses or sometimes completely come off the medication. You might wonder why I'm so passionate about this topic. Going whole food plant-based for me was a game changer. At age 42 in 2019, I went plant-based and I lost over 50 pounds and I've kept it off for 4 years. I have no more seasonal allergies that I suffered with since a young child. I also have eliminated chronic back pain that I had since my late teens. I have a ton of energy. It has truly been a blessing, and I love letting other people know not only my journey, but researching nutrition to see what other great things this lifestyle can do. I wish you lots of health, and I hope that you found this video helpful. Please, if you're still here, subscribe to my channel, give this video a like, and share with others who may need to hear this message. Please keep in mind, I am not a medical professional or medical doctor, and I am in no way telling you what to do. This is simply information that I have compiled based on testimonies I've read and research. Please leave a comment.